Hey, what's up everybody, and welcome to SEMA 2022. We are inside the Holly booth. The Mustang is right here behind me. So if you remember in the last episode where we left off, car had to be pushed. And it got pushed a lot. And when you bring a car to SEMA that has to be pushed, it gets loaded in at about 8 o'clock at night. Everybody else is gone. Gives us our own little private time to work on the car. We have 4 cars on display here at SEMA. We have the single-seater and the Huracan in front of Central Hall. We have the Mustang at the Holly booth, and we have the R69 GTR at the Koenig Wheels booth. So we had to worry about getting all 3 of those other cars loaded into the show. I got pretty burnt up. I'm pretty toasty. A little pink, but when it's all said and done, it's 8 o'clock and we got the car here. Now the show does not start today. It starts, well, it doesn't even start tomorrow. It starts the next day. So today's Sunday, it starts on Tuesday. So we've got some time to diagnose this baby. When we left it last, it's been so long since I've slept, it's like hard to talk. When we left it last, we weren't getting a crank signal to the ECU. The ECU is not reading a crank signal. There's a lot of different reasons that could happen. But when it did happen, it happened really sporadically. We just changed the intake manifold. We didn't do anything else like that. We started it, then it worked fine with the new ECU. We changed the intake manifold, and then it didn't work. So in today's episode, we are going to troubleshoot this thing. We're gonna get it started and get it running, and then we're gonna complete the build by installing our nitrous and finishing out the back end so we have the completed image that we promised that we would build. And we're gonna do it all here from the Holly booth. Stay tuned. Shout out to Harbor Freight. Even this far away from home, they literally let us steal their jacks out of their own display booth here at SEMA, so I can be safe while we get this car up on jacks. We have very limited tool sets here. We also have the Harbor Freight 300-piece tool set and just a few other things. I went and bought a multimeter and some other stuff so we can troubleshoot. We're gonna start on troubleshooting. The guys are running to Home Depot right now to buy drill bits and drilling stuff so we can drill into the back scaffolding here to mount our facades, but I'm going to be focusing on the ECU. This might be a little technically heavy, but basically the odds of the ECU just magically going bad are very, very slim. The odds of the reluctor wheel falling off of the crank on the engine at idle, also very, very slim. So it would normally be the sensor or the harness. We did try a second harness at the shop, so we're thinking it's very unlikely that it's 2 harnesses that have a problem. So I'm guessing it's the sensor. Even though we just bought a brand new sensor and we put it in there, it didn't work, and I'm thinking it was a problem with a brand new sensor. So I went out and bought another brand new sensor. That's the first thing I'm gonna swap out on this thing, and we'll give it a crank, see what it does. You know, real quick before we get started, I want to give you guys just a before and after. Before. So it's really dirty. You have to do open transport with a car this wide because there's no street legal vehicle wide enough to do enclosed transport. So this went through rain and snow treated roads and stuff like that. And we had to pop off our front grille and our front fascia because it had to be towed in here, so those would get broken by the tow bar. So other than that though, things survived pretty dang well, much better than the single seater. So this is just dirt and grime. The waterproofing and everything that we did well. There's no water in the cabin or anything like that, but obviously very, very dirty throughout here. And as things settled and stuff, a little bit of our weather stripping kind of got uneven, so we're going to need to trim some of that back. And other than that, car's looking pretty good. So exterior wise, this car's still a champ. Prior to the refusing to start late last night, I mean, it's always been a champ, but we're getting it back to champ status. Here we go, replacing the sensor. Alright guys, Oscar got the new sensor in. I double checked all the wiring. Kyle's gonna go ahead and hit the key on so we can see this dash here. Now the fuel pump's disabled. For simplification, we're really just looking for this thing to pick up an RPM. So when Kyle cranks this thing, if we see RPM instead of stall, then we know it was that crank sensor. Nope. Too many long nights, too little sleep, and too many problems to have this guy supervising. He's the smallest hands in the world. I don't know about this guy. Look at his eyelashes. Mannequin had no idea what is wrong with this car. It's beyond me. Beyond him too.
those overalls, I would assume he would know what he's talking about.
Hey, dude, just don't say anything if you think we got it. All right, let's crank her up. If you guys want to know what we did, basically nothing. We unplugged the cam sensor and plugged it back in.
That's got to fix it, right?
Yeah, why not? It's almost midnight. Nothing makes sense anymore. We've tried absolutely everything. We verified that every wire has every amount of power that it needs, every amount of ground that it needs. The only thing that we haven't tried is multiple cam sensors. The reason that we did that is because the last time we data logged, it had cam signal just fine and it didn't have crank signal. But I mean, we're pulling at strings now, so we have to call it because there's literally nothing else that we know to do. We tried multiple ECUs, multiple wiring harnesses, multiple sensors. It's just absolutely crazy. So some of the guys will be here from Team Holley. I'm sure some of them can help us troubleshoot tomorrow. And we got some time tomorrow, so we're gonna buy another cam sensor just in case and come tomorrow, guns a-blazing. 8 a.m., we are back at the show. We got that cam position sensor that we talked about yesterday. We actually made it back to the hotel at not a bad time. Got 6 hours of sleep, most I've gotten in a long time. That's like double what I've gotten in the last week and a half, so that's awesome. I'm ready to hit it hard today. I'm really hoping this cam sensor though is gonna be the thing because we've got 2 other cars to finish. So, I'm gonna jack the car up and we'll get it swapped out. New cam sensor installed. I think this is gonna be it. I think this is what it was. Go ahead and crank her up.
Okay, cross your fingers.
Please work. No.
No.
Sometimes it's just when you think that you've ran out of ideas that another really good idea comes up. This one feels promising. So, we didn't follow the instructions when we installed this thing. More correctly, Oscar did not follow the instructions. To his credit, normally I do the wiring for the ECU stuff. I've kind of dove into this stuff a long time ago, and I've been doing it with a lot of the different wiring on the projects. And one really important thing with the Holley, it says it in really bold letters on the installation guide, is that you gotta run a direct power line straight to the battery, straight to the ECU with no interruptions. On a mid-engine car, it's a lot easier to just run it off of the alternator lug because you have a big fat power cord there. But what can happen is when the voltage starts to drop down and get too low, it gets really unhappy and you can sometimes not catch signals because they start to get dirty. We're really thinking that that's what happened. That would be great if that's what happened because that's an easy fix. We run a direct wire to the ECU, we charge our battery, and it also makes sense why it would have started once and then it stopped starting is because the battery voltage just kept getting lower and lower and lower. It's sad to think of how many hours we spent trying to troubleshoot this if it was really nothing wrong other than we just had a bad wire. But obviously it doesn't matter at this point if we can get it to work. So we're feeling very hopeful. We're reattaching our original wiring harness, original ECU, going straight back to the original configuration we had on everything. Got a battery charging up right now, and we're gonna run a direct line, and really hoping this is gonna do it. All right guys, this is a big moment of truth energy. We rewired the whole thing. We've got a direct to battery. We charged our battery. This is the last idea we've got. It has to work. This show is like, I mean, it's not about to start. We have all day today, but we got a lot of other stuff to do. Okay, anyways, there's a lot riding on this. Let's key off and key on the ignition and then you just fire this thing up. It's just gonna start right up. Make sure we're in neutral. Yeah, we got EC, yes, we got RPMs. I saw RPMs.
Okay, it's gonna go.
All right. God. Huh.
Something else is going on.
Okay.
It sounds like the timing's off.
It does sound like the timing's off.
Like it's fighting through compression.
Yes.
Okay, let's check our wiring we did on our corners.
Okay. This is big, guys. We got RPM back for the first time. Oh my God, we're so excited. It doesn't seem like we're that excited. But yeah, that it should have just fired right up. And it does seem like it's fighting. We should have more RPM. We're very low RPM, we have a full battery. It's never ran like that. So our timing is bad or something is off. Coils could be wired in wrong. Yeah, we got to troubleshoot this a little bit more, but we're close. We're close. Sorry I accidentally filmed this in time lapse, guys. This was a big double excitement moment. So you can see right about here, there's a big puff of smoke. We got the car to start. It's running a little rough because it's on a bad tune. But then right about here, a crescent wrench vibrates its way off the dash, lands directly in Oscar's iced tea can, puncturing the can and blasting me right in the face and all over the interior of the car with iced tea. All right, guys, big success. We got the car to run. It feels so good. It's such a victory. Now, it's not running great. It has basically no tune on there, and we got to make some adjustments, and something else isn't working as far as like the alternator. But what was going on is the Holley booth is full of Holley employees, and we don't want to be sitting there smoking them out trying to figure out a tune while they're in there. And we can always come back later tonight when they're gone and do everything that we want. So we are gonna go check out the single-seater and the Huracan. There's a lot of work to be done on those things too, and then we come back to the Mustang. But guys, we got it running. It's so huge. Getting ready for the night shift. It is 7:15. It gets dark really early right now. We're really close. So stuff's going down on the single seater. You're gonna see in the next episode. We pulled a Hail Mary at the very end. We're getting some amazing help, and it's turning out really, really cool. So you guys will see that in the next episode. But the burnt-a-con also broke a con. So Oscar's underneath the burnt-a-con, and our alternator wasn't working super great. It was kind of giving us intermittent amounts of power, and we thought maybe the signal wire came loose during transport. Turns out that the power lug, the main power lug, came loose. So he's just under there tightening it down, and then we're gonna find a way to fire it up. And because I'm not sure if we have enough juice right now, we might need to find a jumper pack, and we'll fire it up and see if our alternator we're getting a full charge like we need. All right, guys, it's midnight. The single seater behind me is finished. The Huracan has its underglow all done, but Kyle took the keys and went off to work on the Mustang, so I'm gonna have to show you guys that in the next episode, our SEMA recap. But it's really cool. We got a bunch of Type S Auto green stuff to match the green of the Huracan. It looks really good. Now it's midnight now. We've been here since like 7 a.m. getting in a good work day. Show starts at 7 tomorrow, so we've got 7 hours to finish the Mustang. This is really cutting SEMA crunch time to like a new definition, a new level. Chris Fix is out of the casino right now. I'm so jealous. If you cut this short and you don't put every minute that you can into these builds and make them as good as you can right before it, I feel like it just takes away and makes all those other sleepless nights so much less worth it. Can't cut it short now. And I am motivated. I could probably stay up for 2 or 3 more days. Maybe I'm just delirious, I don't know, but I'm excited to get back to this Mustang. Back at the Holley booth. So I don't know if I told you guys about how we actually fixed the problem. If I already did, I'm just gonna cut over this. Basically, we just didn't follow the instructions where Holley says how to, I did explain this already. It's been a long day. Anyways, silly problem that was our fault. Now, we're working on getting our engine bay plating in, and then we're gonna mount our nitrous bottles. While that's going on, I'm gonna work on detailing the outside of the car and clean up the interior a little bit. Carbon bits have been installed. So this is our engine surround is all carbon fiber. It's really nice and angular and just bounces off all these corners. And then there's one piece here. So when we close this rear hatch, when you look in, all you're gonna be able to see is carbon fiber running down to some cool stuff, and then the intake and the nitrous and all that great stuff. So that is in there. Now we have our nitrous bottles and nitrous brackets right here. NOS provided to us by Holley. These guys right here. So we're gonna go ahead and get the brackets mounted, and that'll get these big bottles kind of coming off the sides right here. This was the vision, was like huge bottle, really cool intake manifold with direct port nitrous injection. This is looking so cool. Nitrous brackets are in. Getting a little cleanup going on. We got the car raised up. We are going to set the ride height to what we think looks best. We're actually going to be raising it a little bit. And once we have our ride height set, we can put it down, put our final back panel in and our nitrous bottles, attach them over there. And this thing is going to be dialed, and it's just waiting for a cleaning. Like I said, it's 5 a.m., so we've been here for, I think, a little over 5 hours. You know, work is work, and we're getting that done, and we're used to no sleep, but we're also being tortured. The Brembo booth has like a 45-second long audio clip of some weird song that has been playing on the same loop for the last 5 hours. I honestly think dealing with that is harder than doing the work. There is a power cable to their TV, and I have not ripped it out because it's just not the right thing to do. You're welcome, Brembo. I will take apologies in the form of brakes. Ride height is set. No more extreme tuck-in for these boys. We got it all equaled out on all sides. Now we're gonna go ahead and, what are we doing? We're gonna install the nitrous bottles into their holders. We're gonna put this back tray on here, right here, and then we're gonna get, well, we're gonna show you guys what it looks like before we put the back hatch on. As far as good ideas go, the double nitrous bottle mid-engine direct port nitrous injection is a really good idea. This looks so freaking cool. We also have the carbon bottles if we want to switch to those, but I really like the black on black. So now we're gonna throw the rear hatch in. Oh, by the way, we have secret storage back here. We're storing a jack. We're gonna store a toolbox right here. Secret storage. Let's throw the rear hatch in, make sure everything still looks secret, make sure this looks good. It's been the longest work hours of any week of my entire life by a long shot, but this makes it all worth it. We had a vision, we had a plan, we knew what we could do. Let me show you the finished product. When you come to the show and you look around, you see the different builds there are, you start to see a lot of similarities. If you just go right outside that door, you'll find 20 C8 Corvettes that all look the same, just in different colors. That is not what we're about. That's not what this build is about. We build one of one cars to bring to these shows to show you guys what we can do. In just over 45 days, we transformed this thing from a pretty ratty looking movie car with a body on top to this one of a kind, one in the world, amazing, amazing car. It is highly functional as well. It steers great, it stops great, we got it running. This nitrous setup too is just the icing on the cake. I mean, it is such a cool looking engine bay. And obviously having it be right there, and we still have all the proportions right in the car. I mean, come on. This is the best thing, we've ever built. It took a lot of hours to do it, but I am super proud that we got here. When we rolled these cars into SEMA, we had a single-seater that was subpar. We had a Mustang that didn't run. We had a lot of things broken. And while all of our friends are out having fun in Vegas and going to fancy dinners and whatnot, we're getting dirty as hell on the grind, putting in those long hours, but it is so, so worth it. It's 6 a.m. right now, which means we just worked 23 hours straight. The show opens in 1 hour. We made it with 1 hour to spare. That is cutting it close. I can't wait to see what you guys think. Leave a comment. Let me know how you like the build. If you're at the show, tag me in a story. Let me know what you think. Appreciate you guys so much. Please subscribe so you don't miss out on any more of this stuff. I'll see you guys on the next one.